Uh-oh.
George, we have watched your efforts to stop us with respect. But surely you realize that you have been misled by our enemies. Both of us want a better world. Fortunately, no harm has been done. We need determined, resourceful men like you. Join us, George. Join us in true brotherhood.
Yeah. True. Wait. Brothers? What about Marquet? What about Pegram and Klausner? You didn't look on them as brothers, only as failures. 3 men dead, and you don't give a damn.
George, you know that sacrifices are necessary. Every great undertaking.
Join you. I'll see you in hell first.
Oh, George, I had great hopes for you. C'est la guerre. Eklund, kill him.
I swear, I just wanted things to be right.
Take them. Kill them. They will not escape.
Well, well. If
Uh-oh.
it isn't the great detective and his beautiful assistant, it's going to be a pleasure killing the pair of you.
George, what are we going to do?
That was decidedly British accent. Did. I'm going to throw a pen at him. No. No. I can't actually interact with you, can I? I have a torch. I'm not afraid to use it.
Come on, Nico. We're leaving.
You fools! You cannot escape us. Guido! Stop them.
But master, the powder!
That powder is from the English Civil War. You fool.
But probably which one?
It's over 300 years old.
Which side would they have been on?
How explosive do you think it can be?
Probably the royalists, I'd guess.
I thought it was all over, but Nico had one last trick up her sleeve.
A handbag?
Or in her handbag, to be exact. A handbag full of plastic explosives.
Maybe, but this stuff is brand new.
Flee! I hope it's not grade listed. Aww.
We didn't stay long in Scotland. George had a vacation to finish, and I had another
Or
story
start.
to write. Not the real story, of course, but enough half-truths to fill a page and pay my rent for the month. George and I hung out together in Paris. I showed him my favorite restaurants, and he told me his best jokes.
Any good
You know,
ones?
Nico, this city holds so many memories for me now. The cafes, the music.
The sewers,
Tell me about it. The clowns.
the jugglers.
And your pal Labano.
Yes, dear Andre.
When we first met,
and I was doing my detective stuff, you kind of disappeared a lot, Nico. Were you and Labano,
There was something happening, but nothing to do with Andre.
Uh-huh.
It was something from the past that I had to deal with, on my own. So, I dealt with it, and now it's over.
Hey, did I ever tell you the one about the old Irish couple in the lottery?
No, but I think you're going to.
Okay, there's this old Irish couple. They've been married forever, like 50 years, and they win the lottery.
So there was no there was no finish there. I don't know what this button does. Oh, director's message. Thank you for playing Broken Sword: Shadow of the Templars, the director's cut. 2010 marks Revolution's 20th anniversary. Back in 1990, the Berlin Wall had just fallen. Sierra, creator of King's Quest series, amongst many other adventure titles, ruled supreme in the adventure market, and LucasArts was emerging with a new breed of witty, quirky adventure games. Monkey Island was just around the corner. I was development director at the publisher Activision, and was keen to set up a development company to challenge the American behemoths. Tony Warrener, a designer-programmer with whom I had worked a few years, was bored writing aeronautical software. So was his colleague, David Sykes, and Noirind Carmody, who was general manager for Activision UK, wanted to move from publishing to development. Revolution team in 1990... I don't know how long this is, I'm going to read it now. I've started, so I'll finish. Sean Brennan, the head of the publisher Mirrorsoft, invited me out to lunch one day and told me that if I wanted to set up a studio, he would fund and publish our games. Everything was fitting into place. All we needed was a game concept. That game concept was later to evolve into Lure of the Temptress, a game I do have. I think it's actually free on GOG.com. Based on a system that we called Virtual Theatre, the adventure engine guided characters intelligently around a game world. We worked non-stop for weeks to write a prototype and then drove to Mirrorsoft's offices in London to make the presentation. But en route, after leaving the car unattended for a few minutes, a thief broke into it. The radio was stolen, but for some reason the thieves didn't take the PC on the back seat, which was not insured. So the pitch went ahead, Mirrorsoft commissioned the game, and Revolution was born. The Lure of the Temptress team in the early 1990s. The Broken Sword series was conceived, like so many of the best ideas, over an excellent dinner with plenty of wine. It was 94, and I was dining with Noirind Carmody and Sean Brennan, who was now head of publishing at Virgin Interactive. We started talking about the mythology of the Templars, almost unheard of at the time, and what a rich historical background it would create for any entertainment product, particularly a game. And so 10 years after the plethora of Templar-themed entertainment products, Broken Sword was born. 10 years before. George Stobart, concept art, Nico. We had very high ambitions for the game, but the competition was fierce. At Revolution we had an excellent team who had written some very successful adventures, but to move to the next level we needed to bring in the very best from other creative industries. I convinced a very talented layout artist, Ewan Cahill, to join the project. He and his colleague, Neil Breen, I can pronounce that one, who had previously worked at the Don Bluth Studios in Dublin, drew all the backgrounds in pencil and we digitally coloured them in Photoshop. Bridge of the Seine, surprisingly similar to the Ouse Bridge in York. Oh, it is. It is. The main characters and the introduction sequence were created and drawn by a brilliant animator, Mike Burgess, who worked for Red Rover Animation Studio. Tragically, Mike, who was in his 20s, died a few months later. A few years earlier, I had played for a cricket team with the composer Barrington Freelung. We had since lost contact, but when I contacted him to suggest that he might like to write the music, he jumped at the chance. The dream team had come together. The development process was very exhilarating, but often fraught. On its release, Broken Sword was incredibly well received both critically and commercially. The game was followed a year later by Broken Sword 2. After a gap of 5 years, we moved to a 3D presentation for Broken Sword 3 and then 4. While hugely controversial, the move to 3D was necessary to secure publisher support, although my provocative statement that point-and-click adventures are dead has often returned to haunt me. Dwayne, who is he really? I don't know. Pearl. Chantel, the hapless waitress. For this director's cut, I have had the pleasure of working with comic book artist Dave Gibbons, with whom we had worked previously on Beneath a Steel Sky. Another game I have. I think that's also available on GOG.com. Dave has drawn the facial expressions and the new movies. An honourable mention goes to Tony Warrener, who has been an integral part of Revolution since its inception, and Juiced Peters, with whom Tony had programmed this new version. And of course, commercial director Noiden Carmody, who has helped steer the company through both the good and difficult times. I feel extraordinarily proud that 15 years after we conceived and started designing this first game, there is still passion for the games, and privileged that so many fans have remained so loyal to the series. Thank you, Charles Cecil, director. The team had grown by 96. Oh, is that Clifford Tower? Oh, they are in York. That would make sense. Charles Cecil today, slightly less hair. Nordin Carmody, one of the founders. Charles and Dave working on Beneath the Steel Sky. David Gibbons today. Tony Warrener, co-founder and director's cut programmer. I'm guessing on the right. Just guess. Juiced Peters, present-day programmer. Photograph of Constantine's broken sword, erected outside York Minster a few years ago. Is it credits? Credits! There we go! Credits! Waffly time. So, I think after Dreamfall, after starting that and finding out how not puzzly it's been great fun playing this game. Just kind of actually playing a puzzle game, and kind of getting into that. I think the idea that point-and-click adventures are dead, which is something that was just said there, I don't think that's because people stopped buying them. I think it seems very much like marketers decided that they weren't popular, so they stopped selling them. So of course, people who like them are going to stop buying them because they're not available anymore. I did really like this. I liked the story, kind of going around, predominantly France, of course, but kind of going around parts of Europe. Well, predominantly Paris, not France, just Paris. Going around and kind of seeing what's going on. I think I always like having hints in a game. I mean, one of the frustrations with that is it makes it very tempting to then look at the hints, even if you're not really stuck. But it's very helpful for when you are stuck to have a little pop-up to be able to go, okay, I'm stuck, I'm going to look at a hint. And it also helps kind of, you're not, as a Let's Player, I think I probably feel a little bit more pressure. I don't like the idea of just kind of, I don't like the idea of alt-tabbing out and looking something up if I would need to. So having that there means that I'm going to be stuck for maybe a little bit, but then I can go, okay, I'm looking at this thing. I'm going to look at a hint because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I think the thing is, my brain is comparing it to Dreamfall because I'm playing them at the same time. And in Dreamfall, when you pretty much move from one area to another, you lose all your items. You lose all your items. It's not you're not told why. You just lose all your items. And in that aspect, it's really kind of frustrating because I like the idea of I've picked up an item and I'm using it all the way through, and I'm suddenly using it in this moment. We had that with the red nose we were talking about. Although that didn't really come out that much. We used the Merlin card, that was the electrician. We used that several times. We used it in Ireland, we used it in Paris, just kind of showing it around. And oh, you're an electrician. I love that idea, and I really like the idea of using items several times and then kind of using a different thing. I think I'm trying to think of like puzzles that I really liked. I really like the. I think I must have mentioned it. I really like the kind of code puzzles where you're kind of working it out. You're picking out letters, and the standard thing is obviously looking for the most common symbol that appears and saying that's E. So, thank you for playing. Well, thank you for making the game, Revolution Software. It was a delight to play. I liked that. I think making the key was quite an interesting one. trying to think of a really early one that I can think of. I'm kind of stumbling over them. I think they've been really fun puzzles, and I think that's kind of what. This is what the kind of thing I would have liked from Dreamfall. It's just kind of, I don't want exactly the same puzzle. I didn't want exactly the same puzzles from Longest Journey. Clearly, I didn't want a repeat of it. Otherwise, I would have just played it again. I wanted something new, something different, but something that was still a puzzle game. So there's that. I'm trying to think of what else there is to say. The music was interesting. I really liked the graphical style of it. The style is kind of akin to was kind of somewhat akin to. No, it wasn't. I was just going to say the kind of Monkey Island special editions, but it really wasn't. It was different to the original Monkey Island, which I did play, which is the pixel art, and I do really like that. Graphically, actually, there we go. Thanks, Brain. Quite similar to the cutscenes in The Last Express, which is quite interesting. Kind of the last bit of gameplay pretty much was was on top of a train, very similar to The Last Express. That's a brilliant game as well. It was in my top 10 last year. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still there. I did, although I don't know what's going to happen next. I have really enjoyed this. I probably won't do another game to follow this. I'm probably going to drop down to 4 Let's Plays. The reason for that is I've started a teacher training course. So I'm probably going to try and ease up on recording. I don't know if I'm going to keep easing down and then go down to 3 when probably Dreamfall finishes. Or if I'm going to stick with 4, and then after a while maybe kind of once I've started getting kind of into a groove with work, then go up to 5, come back up to 5. I'll kind of see how it play that by ear and see what happens. So I hope you've enjoyed me fumbling through this game. I hope you've enjoyed me fumbling through puzzles and maybe kind of giving up too soon. Maybe that's what you thought with me going to hints sometimes. Yeah. So as I've said, I've enjoyed this. It's been a fun kind of adventure. I'm not sure how much of that is this is a fun game or this is actually a puzzle game, and I've not been enjoying Dreamfall because it's not a puzzle game. So it's a great puzzle game. I've enjoyed it. I've liked it. I've had fun with it. There's a few of those kind of comments have made me laugh, and I think that's always a good sign. It's just it shows that I'm enjoying the game and I'm involved and I'm listening, and it's not just here is a book's worth of dialogue being thrown at you while you're just kind of babysitting character from place to place. You're kind of working through puzzles, you're working through things step by step and working into it. So there we go, that's the end of Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars Director's Cut. It's the first one of the Broken Sword series, and I'm really looking forward to when I do the second one, which admittedly might not be for a while. I mean, I say that, it might, who knows, but it might happen after Dreamfall. It might slide in then. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to think about the future, and I should probably just be leaving. So yes, I hope that you've enjoyed this series as well. And if you've gotten all of this way, thanks for watching.